no matter what. I'm feeling great.
Once again, I welcome all of you to our meditation special series on Light of Knowledge. Hopefully you've been following the practices that we have discussed here and hopefully seeing results. Today we will continue with our children special. Yesterday we talked how meditation can affect children. So let us go into a little more detail and how we can continue to encourage our children to start meditating so that they can have a better life ahead. So let us all welcome Sister Donika, who is here to guide us on this journey today. Welcome, Sister Donika.
Thank you. Om Shanti.
Yesterday you mentioned that you yourself started meditating as a child.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, are there any additional real-life examples that can be as a role model for our children today?
Yes, sure, sister. There are many examples in front of us. The parents themselves tell us their experiences that the children, when they used to come initially before meditation, they were practicing, they were very naughty and all. But now they are experiencing that their children are now becoming more matured and more focused on studies.
Okay.
And rather we see not only on studies, the extracurricular activities they were performing, they are also doing very well in it.
That's very good to know, because it sounds almost like the pressure normally that's on the children is probably taken care of by meditation.
Very true. And I would also like to note one real example, which is a model in front of us also. We have Dadi Gulzar ji, Dadi Hriday Mohini ji, who is additional chief of Brahma Kumaris currently. But when she started practicing meditation, she was just 9 years old.
Oh, wow.
At this 9 years of age, she, along with her regular studies, she was also practicing meditation. And throughout this journey, we see her, she is so very calm, so very relaxed. Even sitting in front of her or sitting beside her, we experience that vibrations of peace, that vibrations of calmness. And I would also like to add one thing, that Dadi Gulzar ji always makes it very easy. As she was a child when she came into this knowledge and practiced meditation, she always says, if you don't remember anything, just remember to say Om Shanti.
That's very nice.
And when we say Om Shanti, you must have noticed every time I start, I say Om Shanti.
Yeah, actually, that was going to be one of my questions too. You know, you always greet us with Om Shanti.
Yeah.
And I did wonder about that as well. What does it really mean, and why will it help us to say Om Shanti to each other?
The word Om Shanti actually means I am a peaceful soul. So when I greet others saying Om Shanti, it's not that only I am greeting others, it's that I am greeting myself, and I am making myself stable in a position that I am a peaceful soul.
This sounds like this is the beginning of getting into that peaceful stage.
Very true.
If I say Om Shanti to myself every morning, first of all, I have to say good morning to Baba. I remember that from our earlier sessions.
Yeah.
So I say good morning to Baba. And after that, if I say Om Shanti to myself, I'm establishing myself in that peace already.
We can also have some keynote talk with Shiv Baba. As we discussed yesterday, that early morning talk, we can have one meditation talk with Baba right now, how we can start, so that our viewers can also have an interest and they can also get a slight, you can say, just a note that how we can talk to Baba in the morning.
Definitely.
When I wake up early in the morning, I just sit straight, get freshened up, and then not on the bed, but at any other place, maybe on the terrace, in the garden, or just in your living room, we can sit together with the family and we can start to talk with ourselves and talk with God like this. Sitting straight, we realize ourselves as I am a peaceful soul. I am a peaceful soul. And then I immerse myself as a soul twinkling white star in the forehead, and my journey starts towards the incorporeal world, the golden red world which we discussed initially. I enter into the golden red world, my original home, and here I reach beneath my sweetest Supreme Father, Shiv Baba. Just sit beneath him, and I wish my sweetest Father, my sweet Baba, a very good morning. Good morning, Baba, for giving me this wonderful day to start with. My sweet Baba, I really thank you for giving me such a good family, such a good environment to live with. Sweet Baba, today I have made certain plans for today's schedule, and I am putting in front of you my schedule. I just emerge today's plans and make a note of it to Shiv Baba, my sweet Father. Can emerge those plans to Baba. After saying the schedule to Baba, I thank Baba, and slowly I come back to my original normal position which I was before. Om Shanti.
That was very nice. I can already see how such a powerful prayer, the first thing in the morning, is going to not only start the healing process for ourselves, but it's also going to mend our relationships in the family, and even going to ensure that we are going to have such a wonderful day ahead.
Yeah, and one more practice we can add up. As we said, the children, they have early morning school or whatsoever timings of school they have gap for after every 1 hour or 45 minutes the period or the lecture changes. So this time when the teacher goes and the new teacher and next teacher enters, the children can take out 1 minute time and say Om Shanti to themselves. They don't have to speak it externally also.
Okay.
We can say it internally to ourselves and realize ourselves that I am a peaceful soul for just few seconds.
That's very nice. And not just between each lecture period, but also at lunchtime.
Yeah.
You know, when students break for lunch.
Along with that, I would also like to suggest that as we see that today's life is so much, we can say, busy for the children also. The children, when they are right from home to school, they travel, that time they are free. They must be in the bus or they must be in the rickshaw and anything else, any vehicle, or they must be going by walk. Whatsoever plan they have for their traveling, during the traveling they can feel that Baba is sitting with me and he is my companion, and today I am going with Baba. Daily as they emerge this, they will feel that they are now slowly and gradually making that God as their companion.
In our childhood days, we had heard this story about this child who would walk through the forest and he would constantly talk to Lord Krishna. And a time came when Lord Krishna was really in front of him, and he could feel him, you know, his presence. So that tells you the power of continuous practice. Again and again, we come back to the practice issue.
Yeah, of course, practice is very essential. But one more thing, the benefit which the child can experience with this meditation. When we have the continuous practice of meditation, we can have that pure energy within us. You see, the child is what we teach him. One thing I have to say, that we have seen many of the animals performing in the circus.
Right.
Right? So when they were small little animals, they were brought to the circus. The baby animal, we can say, he when tries to get out of it, he makes all his power so that he can just escape from that, and he uses whole energy to run out of it, but he is not able to do so. He tries hundreds of times, and the situation comes and now he gives up. He thinks, no, it can't be done. I have to be entrapped here itself. But he doesn't know that when he grows up, the same rod, he has now that much power, the same rope, now he has that much power that he can escape from that.
That's right.
So the limits are made from our mind.
This actually, I think, is a very good example because children love circus.
Yeah.
So hopefully this example sits home with children and they can relate to this.
And this is the example which tells us that the children, right from their small age, if they have a good thinking, the elevated thoughts, if the practice is started right from the beginning, then they can cross boundaries, or they can, you can say, have anything emergence, what they have thought of in their childhood, they have emergence, they have that vision, they can of course perform their level best to that.
So that really tells me how important it is to have this practice of meditation established from childhood, because there's a whole life ahead of the children. And if they can have such a solid foundation, such a solid background, I can just see, how successful they will be in their life.
Rather, we see the vibrations of that child, the vision of that child becomes so very pure that the other people themselves know that this child is something different.
You do sometimes come across children and they stand out in the crowd. And you think there is something different about him, or there's something different about her.
Yes, and see, it's so wonderful that right from the beginning, if the child practices meditation, he becomes so keen in his thoughts and his vision becomes so clear that his maturity level is attained very early, and he can have some number of things to do in his life, and he can perform them very, very fast.
I thought of something, because you are yourself, so solid with your meditation practices and, your association with Brahma Kumaris. I was wondering, who was your role model when you were growing up?
Actually, going to my history, I was, you can say, not inspired by Brahma Kumaris initially.
Okay.
My parents and my family used to.
Okay. But that's how it starts. I mean, most of the time, children don't know that this is going to be good for them in the future. For them, my parents are doing it, so I'll do it.
Yeah, that's why I did it. And I was not very sincere to, or I was not very serious to in that practice initially. It was that as I practiced more and more, I realized its benefits, and then I got it, really I have to. And when I got that maturity and understanding, the first role model in front of me was itself the incorporeal God, because I really experienced those powers, those blessings coming to me, and I wondered that even before studying, before exams, I used to see my friends, they were so very, it's exam, how can I perform, how shall I write, but I was, like very, very calm that whatsoever paper will come, it will be good. And it is just astonishing that till 4th standard I was very weak in my studies. Before I practiced meditation, I shall say till 3rd standard, or rather before that I was also failure. Once I had failed in junior KG. Afterwards, when I started practicing meditation, and it was a sudden turning point, like from 5th standard I was in the toppers list every time.
Isn't that something? From not being a success in your 4th grade, you went to being top of the class. I mean, that is really, really a great story.
And that's not only with me, sister. I see that number of persons who are associated with this Brahma Kumaris, they tell me daily that this has made our change, or my child who was very much, you can say, so much disturbed initially, because now we are seeing that the children are needing counseling too on a very deeper aspect. They get hurt very easily. They feel inferiority complex with other children. Sometimes they have a fight with other children. They hurt others. All these complications which come, we see that when we teach the child the meditation, and the parents' influence is also very essential. Parent also starts practicing meditation, then it comes out that the child slowly and gradually, we don't have to force the child to change, or you don't have to do this, but with the observation in our nature, with the observation of change in our nature, he follows it, he grasps the change, and he himself changes slowly.
I can definitely see how you have succeeded in such a wonderful way, because who's your role model? The highest on high. You know, the highest on high Shiv Baba is your role model. So it's like you have no limits. If you have such a high role model, you can go as high as you want, pretty much.
And it's on us. Daily, I have to inspire myself. Daily, as we said, daily wishing to Baba good morning, daily saying good night, daily for every second which I am having, where I can utilize my time to remember him. The more I am focused to utilize that time, the more I see that mind is becoming stable, calm, and now my inspiration is making me more forward and cross my limits myself.
That's very wonderful. I mean, that's a very, very inspiring story for sure. Sister, on the other side of the story, can it happen that in a family, a child, whether it is influence of another friend at school or a teacher at school, if a child starts to meditate at home, could it be possible that the child can influence his parents?
Of course, for sure. We have many children that they started the meditation practice, and their parents saw that what is this, that my child is changing now. Sometimes we see that neighboring to our center there are houses, and the family is working, mother and father is working, the child is the only one who is at home, maybe his grandparents are there, and the child comes to the center with their grandparents, and slowly and gradually he learns meditation, he himself become calm, and the parents start noticing that what is this, that my child is becoming so different. Is there anything magic it has been done on this child? Becoming so very mature and so very, he is like calm. Initially he used to fight with us, initially he had many complaints with us, but now he is like something different. And then when they have a talk with grandparents, they come to know that the child is coming to the center. He's associated with Brahma Kumari Center, and now he has started doing some meditation practice, and the parents, after seeing the children, they come to the center.
So that's one more reason for all of us to go to Brahma Kumaris and start living a wonderful life. Sister, you earlier talked about a little bit about Dadi Gulzar. Can you tell us a little more about Dadi Gulzar?
Yeah, sure. Dadi Gulzar, as we discussed, she was only 9 years, and her mother, she was called All-Rounder Dadi.
That name itself suggests that she was probably, you know.
Actually, that name was given by Shiv Baba himself, because she was an all-rounder in all the activities. And Dadi Gulzar was not inspired herself to come, but her mother, All-Rounder Dadi, she thought that from my 4 daughters, at least one should practice spirituality, and she asked Dadi Gulzar, and Dadi Gulzar readily agreed to it, and she started coming to center. At that time, it was a very, we can say, small plant. Now we have a very huge tree of Brahma Kumaris, we see. It was in 1936 when this institution was established.
Wow, that long back.
Yeah, long back. And Dadi Gulzar was one of the very, you can say, one of the very roots of this aspect, because at this small age, we can just imagine At that time, now we can see we have much logic, now we have much media exposure and Brahma Kumari's activities we are seeing. After that, we take it logically and we accept it, it's a different thing. But at that time, there was no coverage, nothing, and totally you can say the mind was blank for it. But as soon as she entered the center of Brahma Kumaris, then she realized the peace, the calm, and the, you can say, accompaniment of God. We learn one thing from Dadi Gulzar till today. She makes the spirituality very, very simple for all.
And that goes back to our first few episodes where we talked about easy meditation.
Yeah. In the same way, she says, if you don't remember anything, forget everything, it's okay. Just remember one word, Mera Baba.
And that means?
That means my Baba.
Okay, that's very nice. My gives you that feeling of belonging, right?
That gives the feeling of belonging. And one thing, due to this feeling of belonging, I don't have to make hard practice, or I don't have to force my mind to get connected to Baba, but it becomes in a very simple and natural manner.
So that almost sounds like a mantra to me, Mera Baba. We have a lot of mantras, and that is something which children pick up from their parents, and they will also start chanting something or reciting something. But to have such a wonderful mantra, Mera Baba, which means you're calling upon the Supreme all the time.
Yeah, but one thing is there, sister, that we don't have to recite this mantra orally too.
Okay.
Yes, we see many of the times we may get an vision that we have to recite this mantra just like we recite other mantras and all, but our mind is deviated somewhere else. This is a different thing. We don't have to recite it orally, but we have to say it internally to myself. I have to make my mind accept it to myself that he is my Baba. Shiv Baba is mine. He is Mera Baba. He is my Baba. And that feeling of belongingness is very essential, and not only the oral mantra.
So why saying Mera Baba, my Baba? You are establishing, first of all, the lineage that we talked about, the family relationship, that he's my father. And we also talked about a little bit about inheritance from him. So what else are the benefits of being in that state of Mera Baba, like my connection with Baba is like my real connection?
The first and utmost benefit of being in this state is, as soon as I visualize myself as Baba's child, I get all the inheritance from him. So whatsoever negativities I was having, right from the childhood we catch the negativities too very early.
Yes.
Maybe from the parents, maybe from the surroundings, maybe from the television exposure, whatsoever the children are getting through the cartoons and all. They may start doing the negative activities which they see over there. But as soon as we practice the internal state of Mera Baba, now I realize myself as a peaceful soul. So what we can say impact those things were giving to me, I become resistant to those impact.
Thank you, Sister Donika, for being with us.
Welcome. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. That has such a nice sound to it, nice ring to it. Om Shanti. So we have gotten into a little bit more detail about why meditation is important for children. And we have also had some real life examples on how meditation can be a powerful tool for our children very early on in their life. So please keep your questions coming, and we'll write back to you as soon as we can. Thank you.